Executive session for that one. Hi, good afternoon. This is our Henry County Board of Ethics meeting. Today is December 10th, 2024, 6 p.m. on a Tuesday evening. We're here in our Board of Ethics conference room. We'll start by doing our roll call. District 1 is vacant. District 2, Samuel Balme, present. District 3, Lauren B. Smith.
Present.
District 4, Vice Chair Felicia Harrell.
Here.
Present.
District 5, Desmond Plain here. Tax Commission appointees, Cynthia Cornott.
Present.
Antonio Taylor is no longer with us. Clerk of Superior Court selected alternates, members Erica Pike
Here.
and Benita Harris. All right, that's it. All right, if I can get a motion for agenda item B, the approval of the meeting minutes from November 12th.
One issue with the minutes.
I'm sorry.
I have a problem with minutes here before.
Okay.
There's a typo. It's in my name.
So District 2, Samuel Balme has expressed that there are typos on there.
Just one.
All right, just one with his name. We'll get that corrected. Other than that, could I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from that day?
I make that motion.
All right, motion made.
Excuse me. I believe we have to have a motion to amend the meeting minutes to
Okay.
reflect that change. for
All
us.
right. Well, could I get a motion to amend the meeting minutes to,
So moved.
all right, so the motion was made by Samuel Balme to add the correction in his name,
A second.
seconded by Vice Chair. All in favor? Any opposes? All right, can I get a approval, a motion for the approval of the meeting minutes?
Make that motion.
All right, motion made by Lauren B. Smith,
A second.
seconded by Cynthia Cornell. All in favor? Any opposes? Now we'll have the general updates by our ethics administrator.
Good evening, board. I just have one quick general update to go over the budget. So our professional contracting services, that's one of our accounts. That account started balance was at $49,450 to start. As of right now, we have used up $42,007.16. $1,500 was transferred to our medical account for background checks and drug screenings. So that leaves us a balance of $5,942.84 in that account. We've used 87.61% of that account. And that's professional contracted services.
Can you repeat the number spent for me?
Yes. So the starting balance was $49,450.
Mhm.
As of today, we've used $42,007.16. Of that, $1,500 was transferred to our medical account for background checks and drug screenings for new applicants. So the balance in that account is $5,942.84.
So we cover drug screenings for applicants.
Yes, that is correct. So, first started, I guess they weren't doing that,
Okay.
but as of last year, when we started having to replace members, they were taking that out of the account. I didn't know that until recently, when I started checking the accounts. So they opened up a medical, what they call it a medical account. And so it's professional medical. And we transferred $1,500 into it. As of right now, we've used $675 for all the applicants so far that have gone through the process. Because for each seat or each position that becomes available on the board, I have anywhere between 3 applicants to 11 applicants that have to be sent to get a drug screen and a background check. Because without that step, they can't move to the next step, which is go before the grand jury. So that's something that the county requires. So we are having to incur that cost. So as of right now, we have $825 in that medical account left.
So there's no way we can switch that around to where, let's say if they got 5 applicants that are qualified, we have to pay for 5 different applicants to do a drug screening before we choose one to fill a seat.
Yes, because they can't go before the grand jury
Unless that's not,
unless they pass the background and drug screen. So, the professional medical account, like I said, we transferred $1,500 into that account. We've used $75. We have a balance of $825 left in that account.
I'm just curious, and this is just an average, how many folks would you say had been screened
right?
at $675?
And then it seems as if we're running a gamble that even if they do the drug and alcohol screening and they get before the grand jury and they decide, okay, hey, I don't want to, then we have to start that right back. Yeah, start back over again.
I'm just curious what the average, like on average, what one of these is costing, since that just seems like.
Per person, it's $60. So it's $30 for the background screen, the background check, and it's $30 for the drug test.
How many have we had at 600?
So,
I can do-
And while she's looking that up, if I may, the code requires us to make sure that they don't have any felonies
yeah,
when they're nominated.
Mhm.
And so if we don't do the background screen before, then they can't
Okay.
technically go before the grand jury because that means their nomination will automatically be withdrawn.
it's,
Is there a way to see the applicants and determine in advance which one we want to go through the screening? Or is not our place?
it's not.
Okay.
I didn't think so, but I just wanted to ask.
Yeah,
If
we
if you get 11 applicants, is there a way to weed out some?
That's true. Yeah.
So you
So-
only are paying for maybe
So the
5 of
way-
them.
The only way that applicants get weeded out, when I start the process is the first thing I do is I take their address and I send that over to the Board of Elections. They send me back, okay, this is the district they live in. If, let's say we're trying to fill District 1,
Mhm.
as long as they live in that district, their application goes through.
Hmm.
So they go to the next step, which is you have to go get, your drug screen and your background check done. If they pass if the county will let me know, HR will let me know, hey, these people have passed their drug screening, they've passed their background check, everything looks good, then they go forward to the grand jury interview. So as far as weeding them out, the only way to do that is by their address. If they don't qualify for that district, then that weeds them out. But, I know when
Well, I was going to say, and they have to be in this county at least a year, right? How are we verifying that? Live in the county is the year.
So it's part in their application,
Okay.
they put all that information is on the application.
Who's verifying it?
I do.
Okay. And question for the appointees, the ones appointed by the tax commissioner and selected by the Superior Court clerk, are those also being paid for through the medical account for those drug tests?
So, I did have where the 2 alternates from Superior Court, I received, before they were chosen, I did receive an email from HR saying that those applicants were about to go get their drug screen done. I emailed her back and let them know, because those are not our appointees, like through our office, then that cost should be incurred by the Superior Court Clerk or the Tax Commissioner's Office. As far as I know, that did happen. I don't see those on here, but I will have to check later on once the system updates, because it doesn't do it like hourly or anything.
And one other question. So the accounting says 11 should have been paid for. Do you have a list of 11?
I have just what's right here as of right now.
So not,
This is just, yeah, it is.
it is a total.
Yes, yes, it is. So what happened was, I did notice because there was one that they charged us, there was $90 charged. And so I had to call her back and ask her why that one was charged $90. And she said it was a mistake. Something on their end, they did something extra at Caduceus. So they ended up charging. And I told her, I said, can you please make sure that this doesn't happen again? Because we're dealing with a very minimal budget. So she said that she'd make sure that they would get the drug screening done and the background check done, and that's it. So that's why it's like the 11.2.
Yeah.
But yes,
And how are we confirming they've not, because isn't the requirement also that they've not worked for the county for the last 2 years, within the last 2 years? How are we confirming that?
so, I mean, really, it's really just an honor system at this point, unfortunately, because if you send a resume, because most applicants do attach their resume to their application. I would hope that they would be honest. I have had county employees apply, but they list their county email as a contact. So as soon as I see that, I send them an email and let them know you cannot serve on the board because you were currently a county employee. So I have caught them that way, but as far as if somebody worked for the county prior, I mean, as far as me, there's no way for me to know that 100% sure without getting HR involved.
Could we get HR involved? Because how
I mean,
else are we gonna
if you
confirm
want me
it?
to, I can.
Just because if we're gonna confirm it, we gotta confirm it. We're gonna go through the cost, incur the cost of an FBI background check and drug screening. We may do our due diligence.
And I'm just curious again, have we had anybody that has failed background check?
As of right now, no.
Okay,
As of yet, no. As of yet, I've never received anything that said this person didn't qualify for, you know. So. So that was our professional medical account. So my next account is the technical contracted services. That account balance started at $15,683. As of right now, we've used up $3,520. So that leaves us a balance of $12,163. So we've used 22.44% of that account. Which this account is probably going to be in the red by the end of the year because we still have general counsel's $2,500 a month. And that's going to be from December to June. So that's 17,500 that'll have to come out. Plus, we have also our IT that we need to pay. So that'll be, and I don't know exactly how much their invoice will be because it always, it depends on how long our meetings are and things like that. So Robnet Consulting will also be coming out of that. So that account will be in the red.
so our general counsel is paid from the tech account as opposed to the professional contract.
Well, they're paid from professional contracted services, but because I have 5942 left in there, I'm gonna pay what I can from there, and then I'll pay from the technical contracted services, whatever I can't pay from the other account. And so our other accounts, we have a rental account, and that's just what our big copier comes out of. So that account started at $12,000. As of right now, the balance is $11,228.55. Nothing else comes out of that account, so they put exactly what it's gonna cost us for the entire year in there, so that account never gets touched for anything else. So that'll cover the rental for the whole year.
What was the ending total?
I'm sorry,
What was the ending total? 11,000?
$11,228.55.
Okay,
That's our ending balance as of right now. So that account is for the rental for the copier. And that's the only thing that comes out of there. And finance set it up to where it's $12,000 every year because that's what it's gonna cost us. So nothing else comes out of there. Same thing with our communications account. That's what our cell phones come out of. Mine and Ms. Bullard's cell phones, that account starts at $5,000 every year. Right now, our balance is $4,372. And it's kind of the same situation with the rental. They put exactly the amount that it's costing us for the entire year to cover. And nothing, that account doesn't ever get touched or anything for anything else. We have a postage account, that started at $50. And right now our balance is $41.48 left in that account. And that's just for when we send out a certified mail or subpoena or anything that needs postage on it. So we had to put $50 in. Our, excuse me, our training, and dues and fees is right now, the starting balance is $12,000. Nothing has come out of that account as of yet because we haven't gone for our training for this fiscal year. I am looking into that. In the past couple of days, I've started looking into that. We're just, me and Ms. Bullard are trying to just work out our dates because one of the trainings unfortunately lands on the same day that our ethic forum will be held. So that kind of leaves only 2 different dates left. So we're trying to discuss and make sure we're gonna be able to work that out because with vacations and everything. And the same thing, that account always has the same amount of money put in there. It's not touched for anything besides our training. General supply, that balance started at $10,000. As of right now, we have a balance left of $9,910.93. So as of right now, I have not ordered any more swag or any other office supplies because we don't have any room. So it's kind of full in here, but for the forum, me and Ms. Bullard have been discussing about ordering some type of swag to give to the panelists that volunteered to come and, participate. So I will be ordering some more stuff. So if you guys have something certain you might, want to see at the forum, let me know. That is all I have. That's the end of my.
all right. Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on to our next item. Oh, I'm sorry.
One second, sorry. You have a question? No. See on your face. I have a question.
Well, I was waiting for executive session.
I need to do that too. So, but I do have a question.
Yes.
We talked about having maybe ethics board polos for that forum for all the members. Is that still an option, a thought, or is that scratched?
I mean, I can order from the general supply. That's what we ordered our uniforms from. So
Okay.
we can order from there. I would just need sizes.
Yeah, or a name tag or something, or y'all want,
Something, whatever, it doesn't matter. It could be a name tag.
just get a name tag.
Tags, yeah, for everyone.
Like the magnetic
Yep.
name tag, that would be
Good idea.
good because then you could,
Where it would be.
yeah.
I agree.
I will find a couple options and send it via email. We can make a decision on one.
And then I have another question. The budget that you just went over, I take it we have paper, so we could have printed it out. So we have a email copy of that, please.
I can't,
So just
the only
review it.
the only reason I had to write.
I thought you ran out of paper money.
No, I had to write in most of it because my computer was giving me issues. I was trying to run all this. So I had to handwrite half of it. So I was like, I don't want to give this to them. But yes.
I was like,
I
Lord, I
can
don't have money
definitely
for
run
paper.
a copy for everybody once my computer actually.
Thank you.
All right, we have no more questions. for the administrator? Madam Vice Chair, do you have any more questions? Okay, all right. All right, moving on next, general updates by ethics officer, review of proposed changes to rules and procedure.
Good afternoon. As relates to general updates in general, the first thing that I want to update you all about is on training. To date, we have, well, since the last time we met, we've trained an additional 56 county employees. So that's been over the last 3 weeks. We actually had a really big training class Monday. That was about 40 new employees that we just got in the county. So that was really good. As it relates to the beta testing, I believe last time I updated you all that it was going to take services for the virtual training. So that has been completed. I am very glad that we did that first because come to find out, all of the emails were going to the junk mail, which I kind of figured with the firmware and everything with the county being very particular about things that are coming through. So I have worked with the director of technology services and we have worked that out. Where now when the virtual training goes out to employees, it won't be in their spam or their junk mail. They should get it directly that we've been whitelisted. I also have talked to or corresponded with the chief fire and gave him the heads up that it's now been out, rolling and approved, and it's been beta tested. One of the members from technology service actually went through the whole thing to make sure it worked and all that good stuff. So he knows that this week is going to be sent out to all of them. He did inquire if it could be uploaded to their personal platform. I did look into that and it cannot. And I understand why you would want it on their platform, probably for efficiency reasons for them, but then that will make it inefficient for us. Because then we can't keep up with data and who has taken it all in house in one system. So we have completed that. As it relates to contacting the sheriff per the discussion with at the last meeting, I have corresponded. I corresponded the sheriff. I don't think I'm going to use the correct terminology. Is it the chief deputy or deputy?
Chief deputy.
Chief deputy. The chief deputy as well as the counsel for the sheriff. I notified them going forward. I asked them to let their employees know. I asked a meeting before December 15th. I sent that email, I believe, about the same day that you all received notification, your formal from general counsel. I checked in. I still haven't heard anything, still have not received any responses. After the 15th, my plan is if I don't hear anything, I'm just gonna do like fire, just gonna send it out.
Yep.
And that would be it. So either way, those will be going out to the sheriff's department along with the fire department. Gloria and I have talked, next year is an in-person training year for people.
No, the sheriff's department and the tax commission.
Tax commission.
I spoke with the no, I was right, the fire department. Tax commissioner's office is not big enough to do virtual training.
Okay.
But I did speak to the tax commissioner's office in addition to the sheriff's department. So thank you for saying that. He had no problems with it. He said that his secretary will actually be getting with Gloria so that we can coordinate the training.
Okay.
So he did respond very quickly. In addition to that, next year is a in-person year. So Gloria will start looking for a facility to be able to train, whether it's the Parks and Rec community room. We have already discussed that if we are having difficulties reserving a room, we may have to bring something as a board. And that may need to be considered in our budget that we're presenting. Because then our hands would be tied. We have to train, and if they can't provide, or the county is unable to provide this because of conflicts or whatever reason with the room to train, then we're just gonna have to find something to rent.
But if I'm not mistaken, the budget won't be presented again until June or approved. I mean, we're on this budget until,
We had me and Chair had a
okay.
mid-year adjustment budget meeting this morning. So that was one of the things I did mention is that, we do need an additional $60,000 budget to be able to offset some of the costs that we've incurred this year that we hadn't incurred the past year, because this year we've been doing hearings and everything. So that was one of the things that I said that trying to schedule the community room or Parks and Rec room has become difficult at times because there's so much going on. The community room books up really quickly, so do Parks and Rec. So that has been difficult. And I did mention that we might have to rent a location for the forum or for training or anything else that we might need if we can't have the space. And our office is not big enough to hold a training for a lot of county employees. So, but I did mention that in our budget meeting today.
And who was the budget meeting with?
It was, Ms. Matthews was there, the finance department was there.
Okay.
So it was pretty much with everybody that needed to be.
Okay, and when will we know if we get approved for the 60,000?
So February, they meet in February to
Okay.
discuss that, but me and Chair are waiting to hear back from the county manager's office for a meeting for us to discuss some of their concerns. They were concerned about us spending money on our own IT department and some other things. So the county manager voiced some concerns about that. So I'm waiting for a date to have a meeting with the county manager, chair, myself, the county manager, and I think David. Last name, I'm sorry.
Well, sure, y'all explained why we have our own IT department.
I did.
Okay,
And
okay.
what was their response to?
Well, it was a little amnesia.
I was about to ask, is
Yeah, it was,
to them?
right. It was a little amnesia that was, there, and it wasn't an appropriate platform to remind them in a way that I can
Yeah, that is,
of.
they're the reason why we have it.
Right. So what we'll have to do is, that's why we requested a meeting prior to, just to kind of refresh them on things that were discussed prior to.
And then the 60,000, will that help cover what you just went through, like the professional fees and those type of, where we're at 87% right now? But if we got that $60,000, that will help balance everything out until the end of the year, until the end of the fiscal year?
That is correct. Well, the 60,000 that we're requesting is for the new fiscal year. So this
Oh.
year, it was really more
Okay.
so going over for additional staff.
Right.
So we did request an administrative assistant to help me and Ms. Buller. So that they will decide that at that time. The 60,000 that we additionally asked for, I don't know if that's going to be approved in February if they approve it, or if it will not go into effect if they approve it until the next fiscal year, which will be fiscal year 2026.
So, but I thought, I'm sorry if I misunderstood, was it a mid-year adjustment meeting?
Correct, but it was just for additional staff, but they allowed me to mention all of our other expenses that we had not incurred in the years before because we weren't doing hearings and, we had a lot of expenses as far as, hearing officers, court reporters, process servers, public reprimands. We've had to incur a cost for our own online training, virtual training. So, those are costs that we didn't incur the years before.
Okay.
So, but they did allow me to go over that during the meeting.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Question in regards to expenditures. What is your approval process as far as the funding? Is it internal or external?
So as far as I know, that's something I think the county manager, their finance department, they're the ones that approve anything if we get anything. So they could,
No, I'm speaking of our expenditures. Is there an approval process within the county for what we spend?
for what we spend.
Yes.
So since the beginning, we were always told that if we are going to buy something, like when we bought the online training, that's something that usually the county has a process. They go through like 4 or 5 different steps, and then the county manager is the last one to sign it. Since the beginning, they have wanted to be off because they don't want to be blur the line of, I guess, influencing the board or anything like that. So our process is I bring you the quotes of anything you want me to look at. The board ultimately decides we're gonna go with this quote. Then I just contact a company and chair signs it, vice chair if the chair is not available. I sign it and then it goes to the county. I pay either with a P card or send it into the county so they can be paid through invoice entry. As far as them, I've never had the county manager sign on anything. So as far as I know, they have nothing to do with our approval process for what we spend our budget on.
However, it was brought up in the meeting today that they are responsible for signing off on our stuff, which is is contradictory to everything that we started off with. So again, that's why we're having that meeting prior to.
And I think that may be something I would suggest the board to speak with general counsel about because of the nature of our board. We are very much like the development board. And if you all remember, the development board and the water authority board, they are self-governing. And so are we. They are constitutionally created, one of them statutorily created, and the statute controls. And our statute says that the county has to provide us or shall provide us with all administrative needs. So with that being said, anything that the board typically will need is voted on by the board. And if they do not have a process, even the development board, they rent their own building. And then that comes out of their budget because they said they needed a building and the county doesn't provide them a building because it wasn't big enough.
Do you know, well, is there a memorandum of understanding as far as what we're talking about here, as far as what you just outlined,
There is no memorandum of outstanding, there's the statute itself.
the statute?
So Senate Bill 22 explicitly states that the county shall provide us with all administrative needs.
No, well, yes, that's the budget, but as far as the expenditure, as far as the oversight, it's not clear.
I think because there, in my opinion, there wouldn't be a memorandum of understanding because there's nothing to understand. We're not of the county, we're statutorily created. And so because we are statutorily created, they cannot dictate the budget of the board to the extent that the statute has already given the board itself the authority to determine what is needed and what is not needed.
Okay.
But that's something I would say, board get general counsel's opinion and they could advise.
And she is on Zoom. So
Okay.
we want to hear her during executive session now.
Okay. Now, was it proposed or perhaps mentioned, they could allow us to have the community room on a standing Tuesday of every month or some day in the month, the first Thursday, something that allows us to have it. We know we have it, at least twice out of the month so we want to make sure we schedule our hearings and trainings based on those standing days that they know that we have, just like the commissioner meetings and things of that nature. They have a standing calendar date that's repetitive, like that's, every month. Why can't they do the same for the ethics board?
I think we tried that very early on because I know the elections board, I think they have a standing date in the community room or at least used to. So there are other boards that have standing days. But if I recall, and Gloria, correct me if I'm wrong, when we first tried to do that and get standing dates, we were told we were not first. And then they told us we couldn't use the community room at all.
Right.
And so that in line is the problem. So either you're gonna pay for us a room or you're gonna give us the one that's already paid for. I mean, that just, to me, if they're looking to save money in our budget, one would give us what they already have. That wouldn't cost us.
I think that would be worth revisiting
Yeah.
the county manager as well, just to see if that's something that, hey, we are in the position where we can't do what our board is designed to do without the appropriate space, and have them, whoever calendars their events, go through and pick a day. I mean, even if it was 1 or 2 days out of the month.
And it create a seamless in-person training schedule. And so it's like, every third Monday or whatever it is of the month, we know we have training available in person for that in-person year. And then we know our hearing dates when we can book that room because we've already have it booked.
So I think what they're doing is they're looking at it personally, whereas we're looking at professionally. We see the administrative of what we're doing. We see exactly, we need room for this, we need room for that. They're looking at it personally because I understand they wanted us at the bottom of the totem pole and they didn't want us to have anything once we started. But now if there's something that we can show them to show the productivity of what we're doing, then maybe they'll be more reluctant not to, go against us and just see like, okay, hey, we really need it. And if we present them, continue to keep presenting with that SB 22, and understand the importance. This is what we need now. We can fight all day about it, but this is what we need. Do y'all want to go against it or not?
I think part of it too is from the beginning when the board was really new, the county wanted to make sure there was a very distinct line
Right.
between the board and the county. So as not to have that impression that they control the board, which is fair because that promotes transparency. But at the same time, we can't be separate. And then we do operate separate with getting our own vendors and doing what the board needs to do, but then we're dictated on what vendor to get and things of that nature. It directly contradicts itself.
It does indeed, because on one hand, you're telling us you want a separation, but then you're telling us we can't have something. So you just you place yourself in the middle of our business.
And it's because it's new. This whole thing is new to them. So this is something, of course, we didn't expect for them. We're the trial and error board, because we've only been, 2 years? So we're still trying to knit this thing together. I think until they see something solid, just as this table that we're doing, then they'll probably, and we all might be gone by the time they realize that, but we just have to, we're fighting in the trenches trying to establish this, so.
I am hopeful that the ethics forum will help.
Right.
Because while it's new to Henry County, this is not a new concept. So a lot of things, when Gloria is talking to other administrators and I'm talking to other ethics officers, they're very surprised at the difficulties that we've had with even things just like the IT. When we had someone to create our intro and our outro, and their ITs in their county does that. And so I think it's just new to our county. If they attend the ethics forum, we can educate them. They can hear from other counties that this is not abnormal. Then they can be more receptive of it. That's what I'm hoping.
And then one thing too, they got to understand, even with us being as small as we are, we're more advanced than DeKalb and Fort and our neighboring counties. So we have done more in 2 years than they've done since they've kind of been around. And that's something big to be said. So.
Because if they would like to provide IT, we certainly need access to those cameras in those rooms. I mean, we've been denied access to IT support and equipment. And so it would be great if they would allow that to transpire.
I have a different question like that. What is the length of the in-person training that you are?
About 3 hours.
About 3 hours.
It feels like 3 days.
When I do elections in person, I think they give me a hour spot. And then when I new person orientation, I have from 10:20 to 11:10, so about 50 minutes. So the difference is when we do in-person trainings, we do real life examples. It's more in depth. And that's why the board wants that at least every other year.
Right.
When I'm doing like new employee orientation training, it's very high level, so they get the meat, but I have fire in there, I may have sheriff, so I'm not giving those examples. And they have a full day of other things too, so they give me a limited time spot.
Okay.
The other thing is, when it comes to trainings, we did send out the flyer with the changes that the board made in regards to gifts, just educational moments. Every employee should have a copy of that at this point. Any other questions on training before we go to the next update? The next updates is in regards to the case update. We did receive a transcript last week for the Munez case. So I am working on that final order. That will be available for the board next week. In addition to that, we have no outstanding final hearings that need to take place. So we're going into the new year with nothing pending, which is always a good thing. We are only awaiting one more transcript, and that is the Thomas case, which was done by the same transcriber as the Munez case. So now that Munez is out the way, she should probably is working on Thomas. And then the board, just so the board is aware, I call it an emergency hearing, but it wasn't an emergency. I got notified on a Friday that the appeal for Otis Key was going before the court on a Monday. And the only reason I knew of that is because Mr. Key actually called me and asked me, how do I get a subpoena for our hearing on Monday? So I'm immediately contacting Gloria, like, wait a minute, I am not prepared for a hearing on Monday. Did you get notice? Did we get notice? How did this come about? So I did attend court on that Monday. Come to find out, we were not served, which we already knew. We did not get notice from the clerk of a hearing. It was scheduled for a hearing. And I had a discussion with the court in open court, how after various email correspondences with the clerk of the court herself on that Friday about not getting notice, how we were informed we will never get notice if the person does not list it as a party of the case. I informed the court that that was concerning because we are a party of that's an appeal. So the way the court system works, your party's here, you're automatically named as a party on an appeal. But from the clerk's interpretation, if a person who doesn't know the law, who's pro se, doesn't write our name in, then they're not gonna put us in. So
They should reject the appeal.
so the judge
You're
said that she
appealing
would.
our ruling.
Mhm.
And it's the clerks, it's at their discretion as to whether they move forward with a filing or not. That's a problem. I've got a big problem with that.
So I spoke to I was in front of Judge Roberts. Judge Roberts agreed with me, and she actually didn't understand why we didn't get notice either. So she said that she was going to speak with the civil clerk supervisor and the clerk herself, because we should always be getting notice of whether they name us or not.
Yeah.
And she granted a continuation. She gave me 10 days to submit an answer. I did submit an answer on behalf of the board. So that process is in the works for that review, but I did want to let the board know what that issue has been. So right now, honestly, I don't know if we will or will not know if somebody appeals. And so I asked, the point of me notifying the court was to put them on notice that if you get somebody in front of you, please check out with us first. I'm not gonna not go to court. That's just not ever in my life going to happen. So if I'm not there, that's because I didn't know about it. And now they're at least on notice until that situation can be worked out.
Okay.
And there are no more case updates. The last thing that I have is I made all of the corrections and the changes to the rules and procedures. I emailed that to the board. You all will have to vote to adopt the new rules and procedures effective as of this month after you all vote.
Right, so do we need to do that this evening or?
Yes, we can do that this evening, unless you all want more time to review it. If you all want more time to review it, you can vote in January. I failed to mention that I also reached out to Mr. Caspers to see if he had any recommended changes. He had one or two that was minor. I incorporated them as well, but I did want the board to know that those are not only the ones that you all suggested, but it's the two that he suggested as well. So would you all like to reserve the vote, or you all want to go ahead and vote to adopt the new rules and procedure?
Did everyone gave their recommendations and everything for it,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay.
Everybody gave their recommendations.
Were there any conflicts
No,
that we needed to?
there was one conflict that Sam brought to my attention of if we were asking for certain things to be done with the Senate bill, that we probably just need to leave the rules alone. And I took his recommendation and kind of left that part alone. And that was in regards to naming constitutional officers or not. did you want to talk about your? I will accept these recommendations.
Okay.
Okay.
So review it and vote in January is what I would recommend.
Okay.
All right.
So that will be tabled. And then, as I mentioned, I think I told the board the wrong date. I do have a meeting with Senator Jones.
Okay.
I believe I told you all it was the third, but it's not the third, it's Thursday. So we have a meeting on Thursday. He actually asked me for a meeting after I sent the board's recommended changes. Senator Strickland also acknowledged the changes. He said that he will be working with Senator Jones. So I will update the board at the next meeting of how that meeting went. Last thing is the ethics forum. You all have before you the flyer that we created to distribute. We have two different flyers. We have one flyer that's for the public. So the flyer that you're looking at is the public flyer where they can scan the QR, they can register. It will be at Heritage Park. The public forum will be from 12 to 1. There is another flyer that's invite only. That's really for the county people, commissioners and things of that nature. That will start, the reception starts at 12. They have to register as well because that will be a catered event. And then we'll have networking at 1, and that's open as well.
All right, so the reception starts at 12, but
That flyer is a public flyer. We didn't put the time on there for the public because we don't want the public showing up.
So I'm confused.
Yeah.
The time on-
time is on here, 12 PM to 1 PM.
Sorry, so I said it backwards. So the reception is 11 to 12.
That's what it's.
Okay,
And then the forum is from 12 to 1.
okay.
And then the networking is from 1 to 2.
Like the third and the Thursday.
And with this, you have the topics that are listed. It will be a catered event. And I think there's the form. We have right now various panelists. Oh, that's all I mentioned. Thank you. We are asking the public to pre-submit questions. So I was a little leery of people just getting up asking random questions. So they will have to do the question or give the questions to Gigi so that the panel can answer the questions. And did we talk about the panelists?
No.
So Gigi has the cure Caring County's DA, Caring County Solicitor, DeKalb County. She has reached out to Cobb County. And we are going to reach out to Mr. Caspers. So right now we have 3 that are secured as panelists, and we're looking to add 1, if not 2 more.
When you say DeKalb County, you're saying
The
they're,
ethics officer.
the ethics officer, okay, okay,
Oh, and the city of Atlanta. She has also reached out to the city of Atlanta.
okay.
I think that would give us a good variety because we'll have an administrative judge, we'll have other ethics officer, we'll have a DA and a solicitor.
Okay.
Any other questions about anything else that I've mentioned?
I have a question.
Yes,
Do we
ma'am.
have to register? I saw that choose your title and says board number. Do we need to register as well?
That's a good question.
Not our board doesn't do this. This is not a slate for outside inviters.
If you're unable to make it though, let Gloria know so she doesn't count you in the head count.
Yes, please.
And so for board members, it would be from 11 till 2. Okay.
Any other questions?
All right, there's no
That
other,
concludes all my updates.
all right, thank you, Madam Officer. Is an executive session needed? All right, can I get a motion to go into executive session?
I make that motion.
Motion made by Lawrence Smith,
Second.
second by Vice Chair. All in favor? Any opposers? All right, we're going into executive session.
Please.
All right, make a motion to, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, if we can get a motion to come out of executive session.
I make that motion.
Motion made by Lauren B. Smith,
I second.
second by Samuel May. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposers? And if we get a motion to adjourn this meeting,
I make that motion.
motion made by Lauren B. Smith,
I second.
second by Vice Chair. All in favor? Any opposers? This ends our meeting.
It's been so good.